font that you have like a file for, you can do that. I'm going to use Google Fonts as an example, but there's plenty of font websites that'll allow you to do the same thing. Um, so like, let's see, let's say like Creative Commons fonts, or actually, you know what's a good one is Bitfont, Bitfont Maker. This is a good website. I use this in the games class where you can actually make a font here, but then there's a gallery of fonts made by other people. And I think these are mostly, if not all, Creative Commons licensed fonts. So you can find cool fonts here and download them. So any website like this would also work. But so for Google Fonts, if I want to be able to use this in my project, I can reference the Google font like using an import. So that's like probably the easiest way to do it. Let me just I'll just use a basic um, font. This is kind of cool. I've never seen this before. I guess this is just like different. Yeah, this is not. So different languages. Let's use, or actually, is there a font, Michelle, that's like similar to the font that you were using that you can think of? Like what style of font was it? Hmm. Okay, but the font that you were trying to use, what was the name of that one? Let's see if we can. Sorry, what was the first word? Brother, like brother, 1816. Okay, so this is an Adobe font. Okay, yeah, this is cool. Um, so since it's Adobe font, so you'll actually, so it'll say like, okay, it says the designer, blah, 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 from typo type. Um, so here's their font. Let's view this. Okay, we're just back to where we were. So usually it'll have like for a font like this, there's probably like a license fee somewhere. My computer is, oh, really? Hmm. Okay, so it says for the web. Yeah, but you would still have to have the font file installed. Because it's not like a web safe font. So if it says like add to web project. Oh, but then you have to so you'd have to have a license for this font, which means that you'd have to have like an Adobe account. Um, so I'll try to find something similar to this. Um, okay, so it says the full Adobe Fonts library is cleared for both personal and commercial use. Huh. I wonder if that means if you have an Adobe license or if just anybody can use it. Because if it, let's see, I wonder if there's like a download. There's no like download button. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Well, let's see if we can find a similar font. So, let's see. It's not like the craziest font ever. There's probably some similar fonts. Let's see. Let's just Google similar fonts, and then it says similar fonts and pairings. Um, I assume this is actually probably just like another Adobe font, but let's see. Similar fonts. This is kind of funny. Uh, this is a Joe Biden campaign poster uses brother 1816. And okay, this person says check out Jost, and this person likes that. So let's take a look at this. So this is from a site called indestructibletype.com. So let's see what this is. Okay, so this is like a font designer. Oh, they have the same name as me. That's funny. Um, Free, highly versatile archetypal typography. Da, da, da. Okay, so that's cool. So we should be able to use this font. So this is kind of like an example of the font. And let's see, let's look at the source code here. Da, da, da. So there's a file here. So the real issue here, I'm kind of going on a little bit of a tangent, but the thing is that if we can't find a place where this font exists on the web, then we need to save the file. So that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. So they're actually, if we look at their source code, this is their CSS, and you can see this is a local link. So the URL is just to this file, which means that it's locally stored on the website. And it says that it's free, but I don't really see like a download button here. So I wonder, oh, okay, now that I scroll down through here, maybe there'll be a download button somewhere. Okay, actually, here we go. So this is a link to the font. Um, let's take a look at what this looks like. Okay, so this is actually a link to a page on this developer's site that has the font face. So this might actually work. Um, let's keep reading, or we can download. Okay, this is actually what I want to do. So you could use this link and it would probably work, but I don't really like to use links like this because if this person, decides to get rid of their website or something happens to it or the link changes a little bit, then all of a sudden our project stops working. So what I want to do is download and let's see. Da, da, da. Oh, so we do have to actually pay money for this. So I don't really want to do that. So we're back to square one. Let's see. Let's see if there's uh, okay. If we don't find a good one, hmm. Actually, maybe Google. Let me see if I type this into Google. Sometime it might give me like a alternative. No, it doesn't know about this font. What about Joe? Sometimes it knows about fonts. Oh, here we go. Okay, so he put his font here. I don't know why this is Russian. Um, okay, this looks fine. Anyway, let's see if we can download this. Yes, we can. Okay, so we're gonna ignore the fact that this person wanted us to pay for this, just for this example. But anyway, if we open this up, here is all of our font files. And so this is where this gets a little bit tricky, is that if we want just the font by itself, we can just use this um, this font, this TTF file here. If we want like these specific fonts, we can use these. But this is the file that I was looking for. There's a few different types of font files. TTF is kind of the most common, but it's a little bit of an older standard. The more recent ones are OTF and WOFF. So if you see those, all of those should work. But anyway, we need to install this um, in our project if we want to use it. So I'm just going to use this basic variable weight one right here. And let's take a look at this README. And this actually has some information about how to install it, so that's nice. But anyway, let's actually get to doing this. So we want to put this inside of our project. So I'm going to make a copy of this on my computer, on my, not computer, but on my P5 account. And so now I'll just upload this font. So I'm going to upload Jost variable font. And so now I have this file with the rest of my project, so I can always use this. And now I can load this file. So we could load this into CSS or we could load it into P5. So let's take a look at loading it into P5. And the thing that's interesting about this is that it's pretty similar to what we were doing last week, which is loading an image. So let's go to the reference and look for load font. Whoops, I hit the wrong button there. Load font. And so here we can see this is doing something very similar. to what's happening with our image. We're loading a font from a file here. And it's almost exactly the same thing that we had to do with the image. So if we want to use this font, now that we have the file here, we just have to write it into our program. And we can use the same preload function as well. So I'm going to make a new variable for this called Jost font. And again, I'm just declaring it here. So same thing that Michelle did with the image here. We don't assign it yet because we're going to preload it. So then I'm going to go in here and say Jost font equals load font. And then the value here is just a string with the path to the font. And so it's in our main folder here. So we just have to match the file name here. So I'm just going to type that out, Jost dash variable font underscore wgt.ttf. And now if I want to set my font, instead of saying text font is Verdana, I'm going to say text font is Jost font here. And now that should work. Okay, yeah, that looks right. Like if I do this without the font, it looks different. So yeah, there we go. So now we have a font. So long story short, you may not be able to use the actual font that you want, but it's pretty easy to find a font that's available either on Google Fonts or another website that you can plug in. And again, you don't have to do it this way. I could have just referenced that link that they provided to download the font that way. But the thing that's convenient about downloading the font this way is that I don't have to like load it into CSS and then get it over to P5. I can just load it directly into P5. And now I also don't have to worry if this font disappears. Maybe they decide, oh, I don't want Google Fonts to have this anymore, so I'm going to take it down. We have the file, so we don't have to worry about getting this font disappearing. So at this point, I would also want to put a reference to the font, just like we have a reference to the image here. So I would say font from, and then I just put a link here. And usually, the link will have license information. Let's see. I don't know why this is in Russian. I don't know if I set something to Russian. Okay, let's set to Americas. That's weird. I don't know. Something's broken here. Anyway, I just need to have a link to this font here. So that was kind of a long answer to the question, but that's basically, I think, the best way to go about it. Cool.